Hi everyone, it is time for the weekend Q&A session. Now this is the video where I answer questions all the way through the weekend that you guys and girls ask through a few different ways of getting in touch. Now the first way you can ask questions is if you want to tweet at Geekanoids and include the hashtag GeekQA. Now I also run a Patreon campaign and supporters of me through that campaign get priority on their questions. It starts at a couple of dollars a month, and if you show your support, you get various perks as well as priority on your questions. Now the first question actually comes from a patron, but before I answer that question, I'm going to give you a quick update on the beard. And the beard is growing very nicely indeed. It's still a little bit itchy, but it's got past the mega itchy stage, and I'm really pleased because it's sort of got quite a lot of white in it, and for some unknown reason, I want a white beard. But anyway, I joke with you. Another update for you is obviously if you watched the video yesterday, you'll know that Gravity turned up. Now I'm going to watch this either tonight or on Sunday, and I was hoping it would be a family film, but a bit of a fail on my part is I presented this to the family yesterday and my daughter said, "Oh, I watched Gravity on the flight when I went to Washington." Okay, so my daughter doesn't want to watch it again. And then my son said, "Oh, I watched that at school." And I'm thinking, I thought you went to school to study. But apparently they watch quite a lot of films at school. So my son doesn't want to watch it again. So it's just going to be me and my wife. But still, it's still going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So I've got that for my viewing pleasure over the weekend. So let's get back to the questions. And the first one does come from a patron. It comes from Martin Fluke, and I just want to say to Martin and all the other patrons, thank you very, very much for your continued support. And Martin asks, "Hi Dave, I've got a question for your next Geek QA. What's your views on the trend of unplugging from social media? I've seen it springing up all over the place. Lots of people doing it, people saying they turn into hermits, etc. It's becoming quite a hot topic." And yes, it is becoming quite a hot topic and a really very, very relevant question. In fact, just yesterday, I saw a little discussion going on Twitter about somebody switching off from social media. And a lot of people, including myself on occasion, although I sort of term myself as a little bit different, I'll come back to that in a short while, but a lot of people find themselves constantly checking their phones. So they will check their Twitter, they check their Facebook, Google+, Instagram, and they constantly be refreshing. I've seen it happen with my daughter and to a certain degree my son, not quite so much, but they're just constantly on it. There are obviously other social networks and other apps that have this sort of addictiveness as well, such as Snapchat for example, and it is an issue. It really is an issue. And in fact, I even published a video today on Saturday, the day I'm recording this first segment, about social interaction versus social media. Or the title was something like that. But basically I was saying, are we using the ability to communicate person to person, face to face? Or are we so used to social media nowadays that that's the only means of communication we actually take part in? And I really worry about it, I really do. It's very, very good to have the skill of good communication. But you've got to be able to do that in person. You have to be able to talk to somebody. You have to come across in the right manner. You know, there's so many traits that you can pick up on social media, such as quick, snappy replies that just don't work in real life. Now, the idea of turning off and taking a total break from social media is something I've even considered myself. And the reason I considered it is because I found that when I went on holiday last year, I didn't disconnect myself. So I was still checking my sort of Twitter every now and again. I still took part in Instagram. Instagram's a little bit different because I think that's more of a sharing aspect of a photo that you take, you know, a special moment in time. So that's a little bit different, but certainly Twitter, I still found myself checking that a lot, and the comments on my videos. So I didn't take a proper break. So I think it is a really good idea if you can to actually take a physical break for a couple of days, a week if you can manage it, and totally disengage yourself from social media. I think it does you a lot of good. I think it gives you a fresh sort of outlook when you come back to it, and you might be surprised that you don't miss it as much as you expected yourself to. Now, I mentioned that I treat myself as being a little bit different from the norm in the fact that I love interacting with people online, but the people that I interact with are you guys and girls, the viewers. So I try to be very strict in the amount of time that I spend on social networks, because otherwise the amount of messages I get coming in, I would never get anything else done. So I try to spend maybe half an hour to an hour in the morning, half an hour to an hour in the sort of midday period or early afternoon, and then maybe half an hour to an hour in the evening. I don't really use social media for my personal social life. I tend to use a text or an actual phone call, or a meeting in person, of course, for my social life. So I think I'm a little bit different, but I do still find myself some days checking quite frequently to see what updates have come through and see if anything's trending on Twitter, etc. So that is a really good question, Martin, and I thank you for asking it. If anyone has got any comments to add to that particular answer or question, then please do leave them in the comment section below. So, next question. This question comes in from Matt. Dave, I have a 2011 27-inch Core i7 iMac with 16GB of RAM that I love. Good choice, really good machine. I have started notice I'm getting hard drive lag from the factory fitted 1TB hard drive. I do photo and video editing mainly, along with the usual internet emails, etc. My question is, would I benefit greatly from adding a solid state drive for my OS X drive, keeping the 1TB drive for storage, or upgrading the whole machine to the latest 2013 iMac with a Fusion drive at great cost? And yes, you are right, that's going to give you a big cost if you upgraded the whole machine to a new 2013 iMac. Solid state drives have come down a lot in price, with the Samsung 840 256GB being around £99, and a kit, an OWC kit, costing £30 to enable you to fit it. I've watched there are guides on YouTube, and I'm confident I can personally do the upgrade myself, but will I benefit speed-wise? And that's from Matt. Brilliant question, Matt. You wish me a great weekend. Have a great weekend to you too. The upgrade process on an iMac is tricky. If you're confident in doing it, then by all means have a go. Your iMac is, well, sort of outside the standard warranty already. If you've got Apple Care, then I think doing this sort of upgrade would probably invalidate your Apple Care, so take that into consideration as well. But if you're still confident on doing it yourself, upgrading to a solid state drive will totally transform the speed of loading applications and the general snappiness of using your iMac. This lag that you're mentioning that's coming from the 1TB factory installed hard drive will obviously totally disappear. And adding memory and a solid state drive to any Mac really does transform the experience. Now, you've already got 16GB of RAM from your message, so your memory allocation's absolutely fine. So I would say, yeah, go for it. Go for the solid state drive and either get it fitted or indeed have a go at fitting it yourself. With regards to the storage, then yeah, I would stick with the 1TB drive, put that maybe in an external enclosure and use that to actually sort of do your video work to. Or if you can, add an even faster hard drive, perhaps a Thunderbolt hard drive, to store all of your video externally. Just to give you an idea of what I do, in all of my machines, including the MacBook Pro, which is obviously flash storage, the Mac Mini, I've upgraded that to a solid state drive, and of course the 2013 or late 2013 Mac Pro, that's all internal flash storage. All of my operating system and apps are installed on that internal storage, and I mean every single bit of my video work, even on that new 2013 Mac Pro, is all done on external storage, and they're all Thunderbolt based drives. So do bear that in mind. Maybe take a look at the speeds that the various Thunderbolt or external enclosures offer before purchasing, and just make sure that the write speed and the read speed gives you enough performance to handle the video work that you're going to be editing. But yeah, I would say, just in summary, just go for it. It will absolutely transform your experience. Okay, so I'm now approaching just before midday on Saturday, and I've got some more questions coming via Twitter. Absolutely loads of questions this weekend as well, which really does make me happy. So thank you very much, everyone. Sean Lovelock asks, looking for a simple but sleek looking cable tidy management for my TV. Any ideas? Thanks. Well, that's a really good question. I hate seeing cables, and it's difficult to find a sort of sleek solution for you without knowing what sort of stand you've got for your TV. Now, first of all, if you haven't got a decent stand, sometimes you can buy stands with cable management built in. So they have like a tubular frame, and then you can actually run cables through the tubes in the stand and then just sort of out of one exit point. Also, if you've got some sort of frame for your TV stand that allows you to stick things to it, then there are solutions for that too. I'm just referring to my notes here. You can get things like D-line conduit covers, and they're like semicircular covers. You stick the backing to maybe one of the legs of your TV stand, you run all of your cables through the conduit, and then you snap on a front cover, and they look really nice. And in fact, you can even stick those to the wall as well. When I installed the speakers in the studio, I used a very similar sort of conduit cover, and the curved part stays attached to it, and you just sort of open it, run the speaker wire through, and then snap it closed, and it looks very neat indeed. The other options that I use are Fisual hook and loop cable ties, and they allow you just to bundle cables together. And then last but not least, the Blue Lounge cable box allows you to put like your extension leads and all of your power adapters all into one sort of box, and you can get them in different colours to suit your decor. And then you've just got an exit and an entry point on either side of the box. It just makes it look very, very neat. And I'll link to all of those in the video description, but hopefully that gives you some options and you can choose which ones suit your particular setup best. Brilliant question though. Next question comes in from Jacob. Would you get a Motorola Moto X into the studio? Well, I love the look of the Moto X. In fact, the Motorola Moto G was one of my favourite phones of last year. And the Moto X, I would love to review it, but Motorola haven't sent me one, so I probably won't review it unless they actually pick up on the fact that I would love to have a look. But it looks really nice. Very, very nice phone. Next, I've got a couple of questions from Wise Gadget on Twitter. What is the first thing you do? I'm assuming what is the first thing I do when I get up in the morning. Well, the first thing I do is I pick up my iPhone 5S and I just quickly skip through my emails just to check if there's anything that needs replying to quickly. I don't normally do that before I'm up and about and working, but it just allows me to filter out some of the sort of junk emails that have come in overnight. I know most people check their smartphone. Yeah, so that was the question. The next one is, do you think tablets are coming to education anytime soon? Well, in fact, they already are. A lot of schools and educational establishments, when they look at their buying decisions for the year, actually specify iPads or similar tablets, but for the most part, I would say it's probably normally iPads instead of laptops nowadays. And there are also sort of reports coming in that a lot of schools are actually getting Chromebooks in as well. But tablets are already there in education. I see it in the schools in our local area already. A lot of pupils use them. When my daughter was in her year 7, I think, or was it year 6? Year 6 or 7, they were actually issued with netbooks. I think a lot of schools do actually issue tablets nowadays. Next question is from Tech Junkie Reviews. Awesome Twitter name, by the way. Do you think Google are going to release a new Nexus lineup this year or start focusing on Google Play editions? Very, very good question. I honestly think that Google are going to just continue updating the Nexus line. We've already got the Nexus 5. I think they're going to do their Nexus range of tablets next. The Nexus 10 is long overdue an upgrade. They will still do Google Play editions with other manufacturers, but they will definitely continue their Nexus lineup. I think it goes without saying, that one. Next question is from Heidi, or Heidi on Twitter. I always get it wrong. Heidi, what advice do you give to the new generation on work or study? What a younger Dave would change if he went back? Well, if you're referring to study, what would I change if I went back to school now? would really be just to take advantage of that time. I know it when you're saying this to a younger person, they go, yeah, whatever, I know what you're saying. But really, when you're at school, you have a lot, you still have responsibilities, but you have a lot less responsibilities with regard to finances and housing, feeding a family, etc. So the responsibilities are different. But if I could go back, I would really take the advice that my parents gave to me, which is just to study and really come out of your education with as good a start in life with regards to qualifications. Now, qualifications aren't everything. I didn't have fantastic qualifications when I came out of school. So hard work does sort of mean a lot when employers are looking at employing you. Sometimes actions speak louder than what's written on a piece of paper. So, but education is really important. So that would be my main advice, is to really, and this is coming back to the first part of your question, really sort of do great time management. So if you've got essays or projects that you have to finish, plan those in, plan a decent amount of time in, because once they're done, then you've got time for leisure time afterwards. And I know it's hard to say and hard to sort of accept, but you've got a lot of time ahead of you whilst you're still at school, whilst you're in your sort of early school years. And my real thinking is to work really hard when all the way through until you get to university. And then when you get to university, you'll have that life balance anyway. So you'll know which direction you're going to be going in career-wise. And once you've got your university place, I'm not saying don't study, but I'm saying you can then relax a little bit, and you'll have those time management skills hopefully in place by then to manage the project work that you have throughout your university years. So that would be my main advice, is really think about the time management and to get your projects in on time, and take pride in what you do as well. If you can really focus on the projects and get them done, I think it'll really stand you in good stead for the future. So brilliant question. Next question is from Pure Tech Reviews, and the question is, Dave, can you recommend me good learning books to learn iOS app developing? Well, it's not something I've really looked into myself. I know there are plenty of good guides in book format, and my suggestion, it's going to sound like a rubbish answer, would be just to have a search on Amazon and see what the top sellers are, which ones come up as the most popular choices. But don't forget, when you're learning iOS app development, sometimes you need sort of hands-on, and to actually do it as you go along, you need to actually sort of code some things as you're learning. So I would maybe look more at an online course. There are some fantastic online courses. On one of Chris Perillo's videos, he mentioned that there is an iOS app development course that's quite a good bargain at the moment. If I can find that, I'll link to it. If not, just search up on Chris Perillo's site, and I'm sure you'll find it. But that would probably be the way I would go. Still have some books to accompany that, but I would look more at an online course. The next question comes from Heidi again. If you had a chance to have dinner with 5 of your heroes, who would they be and why? Wow, that is a hard question. I don't think I've got any heroes. I mean, one of the people that I wish I'd have met while he was still alive was Steve Jobs. But if I could choose 5 people nowadays just to have dinner with, it would probably be people from within the business world. I'd probably choose people like Richard Branson, so that I could just ask him some really insightful questions about what drives him to be the entrepreneur that he is. I would also love to meet Bill Gates. Who else? Actually, somebody who has really inspired me is Jamal Edwards, who started making YouTube videos on a camcorder and has taken things to a whole new level. And I'd like to meet him for the same reason as Richard Branson, which is just to see what drives him and just to talk sort of ideas. I would love a brainstorming session with Jamal. Who else? Crikey, that's a really hard question. You will have to settle for 3 at the moment. That's it. I can't come up with 5. Next question is from Gina Michael. If for some reason you could only keep one gadget, which would you choose? Very, very easy question to answer this one. I would choose my iPhone 5S. Why? Because it's like a mini computer. I could still record videos, I could still edit videos, I could still upload videos, I could still communicate with people both via phone, social networking, email, text, etc. And I could create other things. I can take photos, I can create documents, spreadsheets. I could do pretty much everything all on that one device. So it'd definitely be the iPhone 5S. Great question. Next question is from Alex Tucky. I know you love iPhones, but do you keep your old ones or do you sell them? I've answered this one previously, but not everyone's seen the video, so I will answer it again. With all of my iPhones, apart from the very early ones, which I sold, and I so regret selling them. I wish I'd kept my original iPhone. But from the iPhone 4 onwards, I just give them to other members in my family. So my iPhone 4, my wife's got. My iPhone 4S, my daughter's got. My iPhone 5, my son's got. And I've currently got the iPhone 5S. When I upgrade my iPhone 5S, I'm looking down because it's sitting down next to me here. But when I upgrade my iPhone 5S, that will then go to my wife and so on and so on. And that's what I do. So that it just keeps them sort of updated with good phones. And often it's not worth selling smartphones unless you really have to, because you do lose quite a lot unless you sell them early on during their life cycle. If you leave it a couple of years, you don't get very much at all. So that's what I do. Good question though, really good question. And that is it for the questions for Saturday. I will be answering some more on Sunday, and they will be in this very video, so don't go away. Keep watching. The videos for Sunday are coming up next. Hi everyone, welcome to Sunday. The sun is out, so before I answer some more of your questions, we're off for a little day trip. So we've come to Westwood Cross in Broadstairs, or just outside of Broadstairs. This is an area that I used to drive through every single year when I was a kid. I used to come to Broadstairs on my summer holidays. We used to live down near London, and Broadstairs was where my grandparents lived. And Westwood Cross was not here in those days. Westwood was the place I remember my dad always used to come to get his petrol when we arrived here, because it was the cheapest place to actually buy petrol. And now I don't even know where the petrol station is because it looks so different. But basically we've got a really nice looking shopping centre. There's Phones for You over there, DFS. We've got sort of more of an industrial type area over there, although there's a big Costa Coffee right over the back there. We might have to pay that a visit. And then we've got the likes of Debenhams, and then lots of shops all the way round. So we're going to grab a coffee somewhere. There's another Costa Coffee in there as well, so they got one there and one right over the back there. So let's do a little bit of shopping, and then we'll probably head further down into Broadstairs and just have a look around the beach area, where, as I say, I used to go every single year as a kid. This was our summer holiday location, so it brings back some memories, apart from this place of course, because it's all new.
Ireland fight back from France to win the match 22-20 and seal the championship on points difference. This is supposed to be more than past one.
So we're now in Broadstairs at the seafront, and this is where I used to come as a child. This is called Stone Bay, and the actual tide is in at the moment. You can see down there, we're actually on top of the cliffs at the moment, but all the stones seem to have disappeared. It seems like it's a sandy beach now, and this used to be the stony beach along here, and then over in the distance over there is Viking Bay, and that was where we used to go when we wanted to build sandcastles. That was the sandy beach. But it seems there's been a little bit of a change down here. But absolutely glorious weather, and over the back there on the horizon you can see one of the wind farms just about. So this still looks like it's being built. But this is where we're planning to actually buy this whole building. Or maybe just one room in it. So, I am back, and it was quite a long journey. Nice journey though, very, very open road, so it doesn't take too long to get to where we went. And for those of you who didn't hear clearly where we went in the last few segments of the video, we actually went to Broadstairs in Kent. And it was that area that we used to go to as children for our annual holidays. We didn't used to go abroad because my mum and dad couldn't afford to take us, and we used to drive down and meet up with my cousins. My brother and sister also used to go. It was like a family holiday, and we used to stay with my nan and granddad. And whilst we were there today, we also visited where the old house was, so where my nan and granddad, who unfortunately are no longer with us, but where they used to live, and that brought back some fond memories. It was also really nice to see that the current owners of the house have kept it really nicely. I put new windows in, and it just looked really nice. It's nice to see that, actually. Really, really cool. And also the section that I showed you in the video where we were overlooking the sea, and I mentioned about the stony beach, or what used to be a stony beach, that was the exact spot where we used to go and eat fish and chips with my dad. So it brought back some really good memories. So that was a very, very nice outing. Before I move on to the questions and answers, I'll just let you know what I thought of Gravity, which we watched last night. And I thought it was an absolutely fantastic film, apart from one bit, and I'm not going to put any spoilers in my comments, but I will say that the good parts were the effects were really great. And when you think of how much they had going on in some of the scenes, to get the effect of having zero gravity in some of the scenes and getting it all accurate was really, really good. And there were some fantastic special effects, and all of the physics in the film really very, very good. And again, without any spoilers, it was just the ending was good, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I wish they'd taken it sort of one step further and maybe added on another maybe 5 to 10 minutes to the film. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But great acting, great visuals, and I think if anyone wants to see it, it's well worth watching. And that was actually one of the questions that Martin Fluk asked. He said, what did you think of Gravity? So there you go, that's my thoughts on Gravity. You also asked if I've got a 3D telly, and yes, we have got a 3D TV, an LG 3D TV, 47 inches. But to be honest, we're not that keen on 3D. As a whole, we don't really watch 3D films. It just, I don't know, it's just something about it that we've never really enjoyed. We've watched a few 3D films on it, and of course at the cinema as well we've watched 3D, but I always prefer to watch them in 2D because it just get a much higher definition to the picture. So yes, we have, but we don't fully utilise that 3D picture. Also, Corey Mockford asked on Twitter, are you able to recommend a stylus for the iPad? I did already respond to you, Corey, and you'll have got that via Twitter. But the stylus I recommend for the iPad is the Adonit Jot Evernote edition. I'm currently testing it myself, and I think it's a very, very good stylus. I'll leave a link to that in the video description. And then the last question is from Mr. Fisual G247. What are your first impressions of the Samsung Galaxy S5? And what is the best way to start a YouTube channel? Keep up the good vids. Thank you very much for the question and comment. The Samsung Galaxy S5. I haven't handled it, obviously, but my first impressions from what I've seen in the video coverage I've watched are that it looks very good. It's going to have a great screen, great performance. My only concern is that Samsung did not take this opportunity to actually use different materials. They changed the back, they changed like the finish to the back, but they could have introduced some premium materials and really made it stand out. But as it stands at the moment, I can just see they've added lots and lots of features that not everyone will use, but I'm sure it'll be a very, very good smartphone. Now, with regards to making YouTube videos, I have answered this in previous videos, but I don't expect you to have watched all of them. So I will give you a short and sweet answer. And my main advice to people asking, you know, how do I start YouTube and what would make a good YouTube channel? Well, the only way you're going to find out is by trying. So really, the best advice I can give you is to pick up a camera, try making some videos, see what feels right, see what kind of video you enjoy doing, and then put that out there and see how the viewers react. And you're never going to know until you've just picked up a camera and tried it. And the more and more videos you make, the more comfortable you'll get in front of a camera as well, and the more natural you'll be when you're presenting videos to your viewers. So it really is all about just getting out there and trying it. So very best of luck. And if you make any videos, feel free to tweet them at me. I'm always happy to check them out. So that's it for this weekend's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend as well. Don't forget, if you've got questions for next weekend's Q&A, details of how to get them to me are in the video description, including a link to my Patreon campaign, where you get extra perks and you can also get priority on your questions. So once again, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch a rather lengthy video this weekend. I'll see you all again in the next one. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you'd like to watch another amazing video from me, please do click that top box. And if you want to subscribe to my geeky channel, click the red box on the bottom of your screen now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.